Welcome to Season 3 of Heart of the Gulch. On today's episode, we sit down with award-winning Tennessee real estate broker and CEO, William Wilson. In today's Walk the Line episode, we give back to Nashville in an annual turkey drive for Thanksgiving with William Wilson and friends. Let's check out the episode. We are in the heart of the Gulch. My name is Tony Mendoza, your host, and today we got an award-winning, a multi-million-dollar real estate producer. We got a person that's been on many publications. You got LA Times, you got the Business Journals, and many more. The one and only William Wilson from William Wilson Homes. What's going on, Will?
How are you, brother? How are you?
Man, it was just Memorial Day this past weekend, right? So with it being Memorial Day, there's so much time to spend with the family. How was your Memorial Day weekend?
Yeah, man, it was interesting. I mean, I was working a little bit. I saw The Little Mermaid.
You saw The Little Mermaid?
Me and my family went to go see The Little Mermaid, which was a fire movie. Great movie.
The new one?
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of I've heard some positive, some negative.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was much better than I thought it was going to be. I wasn't opposed to going, so it was like my family. It was a big group of us. I was actually probably going to sneak into another movie while they watched Little Mermaid, but I decided to stay. But it was fire, man.
Oh, well, I mean, that's the importance of Memorial Day weekend, right? Is you get a little bit of time to kind of slow your roll.
Yeah.
Because I know you must be busy.
Yeah.
I mean, tell me how the business been for you in 2023.
Oh man, it's been so primarily with trying to scale the brokerage, and maintain adequacy in the market. It's been busy, like a good stress. That's what I was saying earlier, like a good stressful.
I mean,
period.
One thing about a person who has his own business is that your mind never stops.
You can't turn off.
And even when you're just relaxing at the house and you're about to go to sleep, this is when it bothers me the most.
Yeah.
Is when you're going to sleep and you're about to hit your head on the ground. What's the first thing you're thinking about?
The next day.
I know it.
Man, hey, and I'm glad that you get that. A lot of people don't get that. I really do struggle with anxiety and sleep.
Really?
Because of that, yeah.
I mean, but see, there's different types of businesses, right? In real estate, you have constant people going and going and going. They don't stop. Real estate is kind of like, real estate's the type of industry where people, you get what you put out.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
But sometimes you got those people that are really, just on it all the time, that it doesn't let you relax, does it?
Yeah, you can't. And then, I have agents too that ask questions constantly. So like, I'm fighting a lot of battles.
Not only that. So, all right. So you're a Nashvilleian.
Yeah.
Man, talk to me about growing up here in Nashville. I mean, we're in the heart of the Gulch. The heart of the Gulch was not here when you were growing up. So talk about Nashville.
I grew up like probably 5 minutes right down the street.
On which side?
Like 14th Avenue, like near Edge Hill.
Yeah. So talk to me about it. How's it changed?
Oh man, I mean, it's just like night and day, man. I mean, it's a complete 180 from where it used to be. Because before, when I was growing up, Antioch actually used to be like comparable to Brentwood back in the day. Yeah.
That makes sense though, because people, and I know know this from real estate, as people leave the city, they want to go a little farther out. So Antioch was, I guess, the Brentwood?
Yeah, Antioch was, it was Antioch and then Brentwood and Nolensville. So when I was growing up, everybody moved from downtown to Antioch. Like Antioch was like a extremely nice place to live. Was Antioch always, so that's one thing about Nashville, and for the folks that are watching this out of Texas, shout out to you guys that are watching this in Washington State, by the way. Shout out to Washington. And I mean to say that too, I mean to cut you off. I just wanted to also say that Antioch's not bad now. That whole diatribe what I was just discussing was strategically done. So like that was done purposely. Not to say Antioch's bad now. It's actually one of the fastest growing cities in the country. But back in the day, it was more of a, like a suburban, subdivision type. And
you can see it too with the real estate. And not only that, but we're not going to get too much into this, but I mean, me and Dolowai had a good conversation about it. But Nashville's one of those towns. I've never lived in a city, growing up in San Antonio, Texas, being Latino, being around nothing but Latinos.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how different it is living in the South. In Nashville, and how much the city, in a way, is changing neighborhoods not always for the better.
No, I mean, it's not too much diversity down there. But I mean, they want to keep, ideally, what I've seen from growing up is they want to keep, like the country music, the Broadway perspective there. And that's where like our economy is growing. So they'll cater to that segment, which, I mean, from a business standpoint, it makes sense.
Going with the audience.
Yeah, you go with your consumer base.
Now, I'm curious about Antioch, because Antioch is really predominantly Latino.
Yeah, it's growing. Yeah.
And I'm surprised. I'm trying to understand why that neighborhood, if you're saying that in the beginning, it was kind of like the Brentwood.
Yeah.
Where did the Latinos come from for that size?
So honestly, I got a lot of Latino realtors and friends from growing up in Nashville. And it's really probably mainly the lower Antioch side, kind of where Nolensville Road is.
Yes.
So like my family, my close family friend, and again, you could contest to this too. Tell me if your perspective on it. They told me that they just love living next to their family members. Like they'll try to buy as many homes as close together as possible for a community unit. So I saw that happen a lot around Nolensville Road.
Oh, it's that way with not only Latinos, also in the African American communities as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, getting out of that topic, let's talk about just how Nashville, how's it changed for the better or for worse for you?
Oh man, so I think that's a really good question to the regard that a lot of my friends and a lot of my family members kind of hate the growth, but the caveat to that is there's a lot of people that also love it. So you can, I kind of look at it like a wave, right? Like if a huge wave is coming in, you can either jump on it and roll with it. You can hop on the shore and just let it go and you can stay stagnant, or you can just like let it go and then hop on at the end and just kind of like flow with it. So that's kind of how I look at Nashville. It's like we don't have time to sit around and complain. There's too much money being made. People are investing, trillions of dollars.
Yeah.
So if we're from here and we have a foundation and a basis here, we need to take advantage of it in some form, way, or fashion. Businesses are piling in here.
Yep.
You got Oracle, Amazon, Asurion, HCA, Tractor Supply Company, Dollar General.
A lot of great, and Dollar General's been here for a while. And I'm curious because as and still going on your roots, right? As you grew up and as you were deciding on what you like to do, because I know that you were a promoter, you were a rapper once.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to know, everyone has in their hometowns those friends, those subgroup of friends that just haven't ever been able to get out of that mindset, not from a business perspective. Some people have to leave their hometown for really to find themselves.
Correct.
Do you still have friends like that today that just are doing the same thing as they did in high school?
Yeah. I mean, I do, but a big part of lessons or what I've learned from any kind of like personal development and growth is that like everybody's not meant to stay in your circle or stay around you, because you can't grow, with people that are stagnant. And that's not personal at all. I still love everybody, but I can't like party and go out and drink and hang out and do the same things I used to do when I was a 20-year-old. But I mean, but it does suck though, because you still love them and you still would like to hang out with them, but then family and real life happens and it's just like, you got to choose who you're going to survive with. You
know this as a businessman yourself, that there's gaps of just living life, like some people have kids and everything like that.
Yeah.
And then there's business life, where you have a business and not only a family, but now you're even thinking elsewhere. And then you have almost like that personality where you're trying to not only grow your business like you are, but you're also growing your own name and your own personality. Right. And people don't understand those levels.
Yeah.
I mean, what would you tell those people out there today that are trying to find the right group of friends to continue growing?
What I would say, one of the easiest things that helped me is creating plans, right? And if you can't see those same people with you, like say if you have a 5-year plan, say if you can't see those same people with you in year 5, then then you have to spread your wings and let those people go. You can still, I still have an amicable relationship with everybody. I still love everybody, but just day-to-day volume, you can't keep that up because they will hold you back. That quote, I see it all the time on TikTok. It's like, you show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Yep. And that really is like, it's kind of cliche. People could say that's BS, but I like that. And it really is true. Like the people you surround yourself with that pour into you and give you energy and vice versa, you really do end up being like the people you hang around. You know, because you normally don't see successful people hanging around people that really like to just sit on the couch all day.
And that's the thing. But, you know, about the people that are sitting on the couch every day, marketing has been growing ever since. And there's more people sitting on the couch looking at their phone. And from all the information that I learned about you, man, is that you are capitalizing on marketing.
Yeah.
Especially with your business. You are zoning in with your business. But I'm curious to know, did that come from the past when you were trying to promote your music as a rapper?
Yeah. It most definitely was. So I started off, shout out to Dola White. He used to be my manager.
Hey, shout out to Dola.
Shout out to Dola. Yeah, he was my manager, man. But it did start from there, you know, and it started from trying to think outside the box. I literally did a CD called Everybody Raps. Everybody was and is a rapper. So I was thinking, what can I do to separate myself? So my marketing and branding mind has always been
going.
Yeah, it's always been going. And then you kind of just look at the marketplace and you have to bring a different kind of value add to the marketplace in any industry. So it really did, but it did start with promoting parties with Dola White and Scooby. Rest in peace, Scoob.
Rest in peace, Scoob.
Dola, Scoob, Lunchbox, Deshaun, all of those guys. And then, you know, doing music.
I mean, talk to me about, you know, what were your, because as I've noticed, people that have grown in Nashville, they're instilled with music knowledge.
Yeah.
Not only music knowledge, and history too, because this city is filled with history.
Yeah.
But, you know, what are some things that you've taken from the music mind that you're putting into your business today outside of that marketing and promoting your brand?
Yeah, I mean, networking as well, and just personal relationships. Really, networking has been huge because in any industry, and especially music, who you know and how you communicate with them, communication and networking have been two like main key components, and then like integrity too, like being honest. You know, showing up on time. I was 7 minutes late today. I apologize.
They don't know that. You don't have to put that out there. I'll let you get a drink right there. But I mean, in Nashville, y'all know this at this point, that Nashville is one of those communities where networking is not only key, but it almost seems like it's instilled in the city. Yeah. Because as I'm getting to know, I know one person that gets me to know another person. Dola White's a great example of that.
Yeah.
I knew when I had Dola White on the show, I was going to have you on the show.
Yeah.
And have you noticed that Nashville, from a professional standpoint, is such a networking town that there isn't too much of that LA style kind of barrier? Yeah,
and it's really not. And I do love LA, but there is a very open lane of networking. You know, like it gets cliquey at times, but everybody's still one call away or one lunch away, where you can say, hey, let's go get lunch. Let me pick your brain. It's a very open, communicative, like loving still culture, which is another culture that I think a lot of people are moving here for. Because when people ask me, why is everybody moving? Outside of the economic standpoint, we have a nice culture here as well, which a lot of places lack a loving and open culture.
I think this place is developing. It's a developing culture because when I first moved here, I didn't. So I moved here before 2020, just a month before 2020, and when I moved here from San Antonio, I didn't necessarily see the culture because it's not presented well for people that are moving into the city. Yeah. And you really have to dig into Nashville to find not only the bad side of the culture, but the flourishing side of the Frisk University. Yeah, I can see that. And it was just so different for me to grow up. But as growing up here in Nashville, you know, what are some of the things that, you know, the city is known for that as a Nashvilleian you're proud of to call Nashville? So primarily first would be the African-American Jefferson Street tradition. I talked about a little bit that on Dola's podcast too. That whole street, Jefferson Street, 37208, is like rich in culture and tradition, which gets looked over. Like Oprah is from that area. A lot of people look over that piece because it's not at the forefront. Exactly. And that's the problem with transplants. And you know this. There's so many transplants into this city that do not have... If Nashville could give every transplant a booklet, that would be so crucial because there's more than Broadway and Franklin. Sure. But I will say this too: a lot of locals gatekeep that information too. Why? Because they don't want people moving here. A lot of my friends just like stop moving to Nashville, stop moving to that. It's counterproductive to my career. Yeah, but people gatekeep that info, right? Like they don't want people to leave Broadway and Demumbrian. They just like keep the tourists there. So that is kind of like a separate part at time. But
from my standpoint, what I was speaking about a culture was just a business side of culture too.
Keep talking about it.
You know, like the business side of culture that's open. I feel like that depending on who you meet the right local Nashville native, they'll open up the game to you, right? And I've seen that a lot for people. And I've actually tried to just do that myself with a couple of like new real estate agents that are relatively new to the industry. You know, I'll take them under my wing and develop them, or at least give them what I know, who I know that are actually going to be beneficial to them. You know, a couple of my buddies moved the company from Seattle here. You know, I tried to help him link him with the correct people. But I mean, if he didn't have me, he probably would have gone a couple different routes and maybe bumped his head a couple places. So I think it does take the locals to be open, you know, to that. But I'm from a tourism standpoint, you know, I've seen a lot of locals that'll be like, keep everybody on. Well, that's keep everybody on Broadway. Keep them on Demumbrian.
Well, that's fair. And I mean, you know, as you've grown in Nashville, you've grown in so many different ways. You've grown from like I said, being a promoter to being a rapper to a promoter to now, you know, developing your own company in real estate. But talk about the mentor that was able to help you transform your career from, you know, going from music industry. Because a lot of people, especially around our age, you're a little bit older than me. I'm 31. Yeah. But around that age group, that 2000s time period, that's when mixtapes was a big thing. Yeah. That's when everyone was trying.
A lot of people don't know about mixtapes, man.
Well, a lot of people didn't used to do it. I used to record people for the longest time. But mixtape culture and developing your songs and jumping on other people's beats. All those things happen when you were growing up. Yeah. But I mean, talk about that mentor that kind of said, you know, okay, you're doing this lane. Why not kind of touch on a couple other lanes?
Yeah. And so my biggest mentor, I would say, it would be Corey Hammonds. So Corey Hammonds, he's actually the youngest black appraiser in the state of Tennessee. Wow. Really, he's like the youngest black appraiser in most states in the country. But he's been like my big brother forever. Our families have known each other forever. So he's been in real estate for coming up on probably like 25, 30 years. Wow. And he owns his own brokerage, the Hammonds Group. So that's where I started was at the Hammonds Group. So he was also he was my very first music manager too.
Man, you must have, back in the day, you must have really had, because you had Doloway as your manager, you had him as your manager. I mean, you were really pushing, you were really trying to break. But
bro, I did music for 10, 11 straight years.
Sadly, it's that you're in Nashville. Yeah. And I think that's the saddest thing, and that's what me and Doloway talked about, is just that Nashville, it's not gatekeeping, but I think Nashville, the city, and the producers here and everything, they want a certain type of sound out of Nashville.
Yeah, and it wasn't, so I was more so like people used to say I rap like I'm from New York. So I wasn't just a Southern type, you know, of artist.
So you actually had lyrics.
Facts, bars, right. So I have bars. But no, man, I did music with a lot of Jelly Roll. Did a lot of music with Jelly Roll.
Shout out to Jelly Roll.
Jelly Roll, Lido, Paper, Broadway, Fade Eastwood, Young Real. These are all names that local people would know.
Jelly Roll is a great example of that, because you saw his career really flourish. What happened?
Hey, man,
he switched up the style of music that he was creating, and of course, what popped off.
Hey, I'm super
what Nashville wanted.
Yeah, I'm super proud of Jelly. Yeah, me and Jelly used to battle rap at Cummins Station back in the day.
Right here.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we used to battle rap in Fathead. Me, Jelly Roll, Fathead. Shout out to C-Dub and Squints, too.
Squints. Yeah. And I've heard, all these names I've actually heard of just being around.
I like, saying these names, too, because I'm always talking real estate. I like talking rap, man.
Well, you know, the thing is, I love talking about everything. And my goal here in the Heart of the Gulch is to give a side of you that I haven't heard everyone talk about.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
But at the same time, though, we have to stay on topic of real estate, because, you know, as you transcended your career into a real estate professional, and not only that, multi-million-dollar producer, real estate professional, there are a lot of challenges that come with that. Yeah. And I mean, Nashville's home to so many, you know it, so many real estate professionals. Yeah. I mean, what are some of the key things that you're doing that a lot of people, you don't have to give all your secret sauce, but what are some of the things that you're doing that, you know, really present yourself differently from everyone else?
Yeah, and I think it's, outside of like being authentic, authenticity is huge, but I think that I really do have a passion with helping in education. And I think people understand that. And you have to be a value add, like I was saying before, to your marketplace. So I grew up with absolutely like no financial literacy. So like the stuff that I'm learning now in real estate, I love to learn it and I go give it right back. Like, and I think people are one, finding a value in that and actually being helped and assisted in their financial goals. And then two, you got to do real estate with people you trust. So I'm a very transparent, open person. And outside of that, it's just marketing, man. And then you got to be consistent. I see a lot of people have like imposter syndrome. They give up. Like, even if you grind hard for 6 months and it doesn't work out, that doesn't mean that the road is over. You know, you have to just break through that and keep going. So I see a ton of agents that will start just hustling. And then if they don't close a bunch of deals by like even year one, you know, they're done. It's the reason 95% of agents don't make it to year 5. Almost 80% don't make it to year 2. So those are real stats. And I see why, but people give up. But and again, that's why if you implement a plan on the front end, then you understand, okay, I'm only a year 2. I'm not going to give up.
Well, you know, it's funny is that as you're saying that, you know, it's the first thing I'm thinking about. The first thing I'm thinking about is when you're going for music.
Oh, yeah.
When you go for music, you cannot expect, especially back then, back in the early 2000s, there wasn't the internet, SoundCloud. That wasn't a thing.
We were printing mixtapes.
Exactly. You were printing mixtapes. You were putting it on CDs, and you had to physically be out there selling it, right? So your salesmanship grew from that. Not only that, you're also your tenacity.
Yeah.
Your tenacity to continue to not give up on that 5-year plan, because you know, you were 30 years old when you were trying to push very, very hard on your music career.
Yeah.
And that makes such a, I see you smiling, bro. I know my research, baby.
Yeah, you do. I actually gave myself, man, that was it, really, like 30, like was the, I did like 30, almost 31. I was like, look, I don't want to be a 30-year-old rapper. I gave myself a hard stop. And I was like, and that's when I got my, I got my second like corporate job.
Corporate, as much as I would love to say corporate gives you a good world, for the people out there that have a corporate job, shout out to you guys, because we were both one of them.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's that corporate jobs do not allow a person to reach, in my opinion, their full potential of who they are.
No, I mean, no, you're not supposed to. That's not the premise of a job. You know, like, you're not supposed to reach your full potential, which was crazy to me because I worked for a company and I would take like crazy bright ideas and I feel really grow and develop the company. Although this is a $1 billion company I'm working for.
Sound like me.
They don't give a damn about my stupid ass ideas. I don't mean to cuss. They don't care about my stupid ideas, and I'm making $45,000 a year. They're like, shut up. So that's why now it's so nice, because now I can like implement my own growth and ideas and be creative and innovative in my company.
Well, you're the person now that they're trying to contact. Yeah. And here's the thing. Here's the thing about growing you and your business, right? Is that you're paving a way with your business. And now these companies that are interested in having you, the new word is what? Being a counsel or consultation.
Yeah, consultation.
Right? Now what they're doing is they're seeing you prosper. And they say, well, why don't you speak to these people? Yeah. These people that are in our corporation on how you did it. Yeah. In reality, the reason why you did it is by leaving the corporate environment.
Correct. Yeah. And it really is designed to hold you back. But and another part to that is some people don't have that in them. You know, some people don't want to work for themselves, and a lot of people don't have that in them as well. So it's a very comfortable path. And I thought that I wanted that. I worked corporate for almost 6 years.
Yeah, so close to me, about 5.5.
Like almost 6 years. I worked at ComData. I worked at Tractor Supply Company, corporate office in Maryland Farms, and I worked at Genesco.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, and I thought that like really back then, like I didn't even really have any real tangible goals. I was just like, I just want to make $50,000 a year. That was my goal. So I really didn't have that many goals. So and again, I think a lot of my friends, they were comfortable with that, and a lot of people are. So it does take a different kind of mind.
Well, a lot of musicians are dreamers, and I'll let you get a drink of that. But
Facts.
A lot of musicians are dreamers, and they dream big, but in reality, that dream doesn't leave their head.
Yeah, that's key.
And the scary thing about it is kind of like when you went the transition to go into real estate, you realize that, okay, it's not that I'm not good at what I do, because I am the best at what I do, but it's more of like, hey, let's put the same effort into something else, and that effort, let's see if it prospers. And you went through a lot of different phases, but you know, what was it about real estate that really got your juices flowing, and what gave you that success?
Yeah. So what really like gave me the passion, and I think you have to like love what you're doing, is was helping other people like discover like different goals with financial goals. So I always tell this story, she lets me tell. I had a client who was living like check to check, struggling, like, and she just bought a house. And again, this market is crazy we're in. Nashville market is growing. That's why I always suggest my friends buy a home. But she bought one home, for $300,000. It changed her life.
What was this?
She bought this house in, what was that, 2019? Woo. Yeah, she bought a home in 2019, sold it last year, made enough money to buy another one, start a business, and then have like a safety net of like $55,000.
And that's a huge safety net for someone
single mother. And so she bought a whole nother house and then had 50 and started a side business. Mm-hmm. So now she has double income. But that's the benefits of real estate. So when I learned that, like I didn't even buy my first house until 2018. So like I was fairly late to the game. Again, I had no financial literacy. So my passion in learning and educating myself and then giving that back and helping people achieve their own goals. I mean, it's like a rush for me. Like, and I'm obsessed with it at this point because I like meeting somebody and then like hearing their goals. If they don't have any, help them implement it. And then let's go execute.
What can you tell to the people out there today that are really hesitant of getting the right realtor or the right brokerage, the right person? Because the scary thing about everybody who's in real estate is they're 100% salespeople.
Yeah.
How do you stay away from not sounding too salesman-like?
Yeah, and it's always going to go back to the value add because it's like, to me, a good real estate agent is in the service industry more so than sales, because I can say, look, I can give you good options for a lender, home inspector, appraiser, site plan, surveyor, almost anything you need. And the reason I'm able to do that is because I study my butt off and become educated myself. So yeah, your fly-by-night run-of-the-mill real estate agent, really doesn't bring that much to the table, which is the reason we see numbers fizzling out. But if you are a good service transaction coordinator, of all fields, that's when you find value. I mean, people will trust you, but so it's really not even, I'm not really selling myself per se. I'm really just selling all the things that I've educated myself on to my clients. Like, this is what I can do for you that everybody else may not be able to.
And people get confused between salesmanship and confidence.
Yeah, true.
And I mean, how would you describe a salesman versus just a person who's confident and that they can change something?
I think a lot of salesmen I see are just transaction based, man. They just care about a check. They care about the money.
How can one of these people that are watching this today be able to determine who's confident and who's just trying to sell them?
Well, one, you can ask questions. So say if you are a buyer and you just say, hey, give me loan options. Give me all my loan options. And again, it's not our job to know what the lender knows, but a good agent who is going to talk to you is going to study everybody else's job, from the title company, from the home inspector, to the lender, to the loan officer. You don't want to do their work or step on toes, but you still should know their job, because one of the biggest questions we get is like, hey, what kind of loans can I get? And if you don't study and don't know all the loans very thorough, I think that's a good telltale sign that you're just in it for the check a lot of times if you don't know the intricacies of the job and its detail. And then if you're not passionate too. And if somebody just comes to you and is like, I just want to sell you a house without asking you what your goals are, like, what do you want to achieve by this? Because you may not even be in a position to buy a house. I've told some people you need to rent for another 12 to 14 months. And then we'll have this conversation again. And I'm running the risk of them go finding another agent, but most times people come back. So if it's not all about money, ask them questions. If somebody's just saying, hey, let's just go find you a house right now, and they want to put an offer in the next day after you've only seen 2 homes, then you know who you have on your team. So that's a big telltale sign. But honestly, man, it's just being authentic. Right? Like, I met you, you're extremely authentic and genuine. You can feel that energy, and you can feel when somebody is a super salesy person as well. So, but you can't necessarily work and move in passion if you're not authentic as well with your clients.
For the people that are watching this right now, what is the difference between a broker and a real estate agent?
So everybody that initially gets their real estate license is an affiliate broker.
Okay.
So, you have to pass the test, you got to get like a 70%. It's actually a pretty easy test. I think that's why so many real estate agents are. It's a fairly simple test. And then once you have your real estate license active for 3 years, you have to go take another test, which is a little bit tougher. Then you got to get an 80%. I think maybe 75 or 80%.
I think it's 75.
And then once you pass that, that's when you're a real estate broker. And then like you can manage companies, start a property management company, things of that nature. So it's like a step up. A lot of people are fine just being affiliate brokers. I wanted to just learn and study more to be a better agent for my clients. Mm-hmm. So in 2020, I got my broker's license. And I didn't actually open up my own brokerage until October 2022. I should have probably done it much earlier. Hindsight's 2020 is what I was saying. But I got it. I got my broker's license in 2020. And then I started, the brokerage in October 2022.
I mean, talk to me about, so prior to that though, you were, you're lucky enough to be on a few publications.
Yeah.
You're lucky enough to be, talk about all the fun publications that you were on.
Yeah. So man, one of the most fun, and it was all about the photographer who was a super good guy, was the LA Times interview. LA Times did an interview about how do locals feel about Nashville transitioning. Mm-hmm. And I gave them a very candid, honest interview about that, saying it's good sides and it's bad sides. It just as any ever changing industry, you're going to have people that hate it and people that love it. But that was probably the most fun. When I did a show that was on Hulu, First Time Buyer, it was really cool.
What was that like? So for the Hulu First Time Buyer show, which I saw I saw an episode of it.
Yeah.
What was that like to be, on a platform that was growing not only Nashville but yourself as a real estate man? Yeah,
man. Honestly, it was really neat. It was hard filming. Like, I was the first show I did. We filmed days for like a 30-minute clip.
Really?
Yeah, and it was exhausting. It was long. So the reason I like the show is because, not to knock HGTV, I love HGTV. It's a very good entertaining show. But this was a more so like a realistic what really happens, because normally on HGTV you'll have like, hey, I'm a school teacher, I'm a bus driver, our budget's $1 million. That's not reality.
Transition to this.
Yeah, so this show actually showed beginning to end on like the real process, even like repairs. It was a real deal. Like how it's not as streamlined and as easy as people think it is. So that's kind of what I wanted to highlight too. And I really wish somebody would do like a flip show like that, because people love flipping homes. That's not easy either. It would make people second guess it. And I'm not here to like dream shatter, anybody's dreams, but it's just real estate is not as easy as people make it seem on HGTV.
Talk to me about the challenges that you face every day that people that are watching this right now have no idea.
First thing is people think that every agent gets paid 3%. I think people think we just roll the money in. It's not. It's not easy. Like, and really, that's really not even feasible in a lot of cases. You got a broker split. Mm-hmm. You have taxes, marketing, insurance. You don't cash flow like that all the time. I think that's the first step. The second step is people think you don't have to work as hard either. Like people think that I can watch an HGTV show and then I can just jump in real estate and make 3%, not realizing that this is a small business and you have to treat it as such. And you have to work your butt off consistently. And a really good, I was watching this podcast the other day with Joe Rogan actually. And somebody was on there was saying like, look, I market my butt off every day. Like, you don't see Burger King start a marketing campaign and then just stop for 4 months and then turn it back on after that. So people do that a lot in real estate, is they'll start and they'll stop. They'll start and stop. You can't turn it off once you start. And you can, and it's crazy to even say that, but literally so many agents do that.
Talk about the challenges of, never stopping and how a lot of people cannot do that.
Yeah. And it really does go back to goal setting and game planning, man. Like you can't.
How do you goal set?
Off day. So like I personally started when I first. So that's why I didn't get my really even get my LLC started until 2018. So it really took me probably like a good 2 years to say, I need to create some kind of system for myself. And it took me about 2 years, probably about actually like maybe 25, 26 months to be exact, where I said, look, let me get my LLC, let me get my crap in order. and let me do a 5-year plan. So I did a 5-year plan, a personal plan, and a business plan.
You're brutally honest with yourself.
Oh yeah, you have to be. You got to talk crap to you. And this is the thing too. If you can lie to yourself, I talk horrible to myself.
Yeah, same thing.
Like if you can't be honest to yourself, like you're not going to be honest to any client, friend, family. Accountability is a must. You have to be honest and tell yourself, look, and I told myself this, look, man, I was 30. I was 30 with little to no money, crazy debt. I didn't have a home at the time. And I was like, dude, you party way too much. And now I'm like, I don't even want to party unless I'm celebrating a win. I was just going out. Like, why was I at Tin Roof all the time, man? I had no business being at Tin Roof all the time. None at all. I'm celebrating losses.
But you didn't let it get you down.
Yeah.
What stopped you from letting all this learning and trying to make yourself different from everyone else? I mean, what didn't let you down? Because you must have hit walls after walls after walls.
To be very transparent and honest, my father died when I was 16.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it sucked.
I know.
But really, like he had cancer, brain cancer. When people talk about giving up, like he didn't give up at all. It was a crazy story. So like literally, they diagnosed him with glioblastoma multiforme type of brain cancer, and they were like, "Look, They told him what, you have 6 months to live." Like they gave him 6 months. It was a really, really bad tumor in his brain.
How old was he, if you don't mind me asking?
51. Well, at the time he was 50. But they were like, look, you're gonna die in 6 months. He told us, like, look, I got 6 months. His like tenacity and resilience during that period like motivated me. That's why I was like, people don't have that in them. Like I got like some extra stuff in me that's gone on with me.
Talk about it. So that's 6 months.
Yeah, so he gave 6 months. So he had open brain surgery twice just to add on another 6 months. And he didn't give up at all. Like literally until like the last day he died in March. And like, yeah, that's why I was like, why would I give up on a real estate career or a business or any business I start? And he didn't give up at all, like, and was going through hell. I'm sure that last 6 months was really hard on him, but he was going through everything he could to just see me, my sister,
how was that on you?
Family every day.
How old were you?
I was 16.
What did that instill in you from watching him do all that? I mean, what is that light that turns on? Because the people don't know what that light that turns on, that click, and some people don't have that happen.
No, I mean, people don't. You always have that moment. So like, initially, he always instilled in me, like, never say can't. So like, I really just thought that I could do anything. Like, that's why I even tried to rap. Like, I was like, I feel like I could be the biggest rapper. I really feel like I could do anything I set my mind to, which is kind of like either ignorance and a mixture of a little arrogance. I'm not sure what it is.
Confidence.
Right. Confidence, but like the thing is, I'm growing up. People really don't like confident people, so that's another conversation.
People don't like confident people.
But from there, man, it was just like, just seeing him go through that when I was 16, it kind of just hits me when I want to give up or when I'm tired.
There you go.
Like then it's just like, get up, man. You're being weak. Like,
but I also hear that you're pretty competitive. You seem like a very competitive site.
Yeah.
So
I'm very competitive. Yeah.
Now you talk to yourself harshly.
Correct. Yeah.
I talk to myself very harshly. Mm-hmm. Now, do you think that comes from a competitive standpoint, or do you think that comes from where does that come from for you?
I mean, yeah, it is competitive. Like, I love Kobe Bryant too. It's probably one of the most competitive athletes in history.
He lost a lot. He lost a lot by being in the gym every day.
Oh yeah, he did. And that's the worst part about him dying prematurely, was that he was trying to make that up in that latter part of his life with his family.
But talk about that mentality, the mama mentality that you started to have.
Yeah, man, it is. It does start from a competitive nature. So like every morning, and if I can't do it the next morning, like from 9 to 10, I just meet with myself. And I got that from my mentor, Corey, too. I meet with myself, and have really hard, accountable conversations. But it does come from being super competitive. But one of the things that I did at real estate too that could help new agents is I stopped looking at what other agents did and just made my own path. Like, I literally blocked out everything, created my own lane, and just said, I'm going to do this. And I stopped caring what people posted on Instagram, because it's really easy to get caught up in that. And I see a ton of new agents doing it, but I literally just made my own lane and just jumped in it and drove.
So you don't look at competitors?
No, I mean, like, I don't, because it's so many facades and fakeness that I've learned to understand in real estate. That can just throw you off your game. Kind of like HGTV is a good comparison to that, man, because you can see an agent that you think is killing it, And then if I'm studying this agent, looking at him close, and he may be getting 30% of those deals instead of 80 or 90, right? So which one would you rather have, right? 30 or 80? So like, I don't jump in the comparison game anymore. Like they say, comparison is a thief of joy. I don't look at that or anybody.
So for example, I look at people every day. So I do the exact same thing you do actually. And I don't know if you guys do this as well. But when I created the show Heart of the Gulch, I immediately stopped watching podcasts and shows because I said, well, if I'm going to watch them, I'm going to get the same. It's going to instill in my brain. Correct. But what I don't do, though, is I do not pay attention to the people in my city that do it because I am competitive. No, and it's not that I'm competitive, like I can beat them, because there's some people I can't beat. I can't beat where I'm at. Correct. But I can tell you one thing. You told me this outside in the studio right now. There's something different that we're doing here in the Heart of the Gulch that is apparent. Yeah. And it's because I'm competitive. It's because I see other people in my city in Nashville do what I'm doing. Everyone has a podcast, like everyone had a mixtape back in the day. Facts. So, facts, man. Do you watch people bars, right? Yeah. I'm gonna give myself that. But do you have? Yeah. Do you look at people in our city and you're like, okay, you use them as their testing tool? You may not hit them yet, but you see them. No, most definitely. Like what I used to do, and what I see a lot of agents do, is compare their success to others. That's primarily what I was talking about. But yes, like for instance, I look at like how Compass moves, or like the large scale companies, and try to like not mimic them exactly, but at least see the direction or trajectory where they're headed. You change your technique. Yeah, because then, if they're already on that level of success, and that's where I'm striving for, I look there. But yeah, I mean, I don't engross myself in looking at like how many closings does this guy have? How many closings does she have? What's going on over there? And that's just going to come because of yourself. Yeah, like you can attract good energy and good people and good deals and closings by working your butt off as well. So that's kind of what I stopped. But like when I meet with new agents, they're like, I see this person closing every day. I see that person closing. And I'm like, that has nothing to do with your success. You can't look at this person's Instagram page or Facebook page and then say, I want to be just like that, because you don't know what they're going through. You're only seeing the highlights. You don't know what they do behind the scenes, how many years it took them to build up there. You're only seeing the highlights. Do you show your lowlights? Oh yeah, I do. Which is I like posting those. I actually just posted. I'm flipping a house right now. It's been a horrible flip, and it hasn't been glitz and glamour. It's been a tragedy, damn near. Like, so yeah, I've been posting about that. I post about it like when I lose deals. Yeah, I put it on my story. Lost another deal. But even then, it's still like hard for people to really grasp that, because they only, like, I got a closing after this I'm gonna go to. I'll post that, but people will probably hold on to that more so than they will the bad times, because I think that's just the way our minds are set up. But what changes in your 30s for the people that are watching this that are 25 or just about to be 30 or young 30s? Yeah. What changes in your 30s? Life, and then when you segment it by decades, like I think it's about mindset. Initially, like if I would have had this mindset that I'm going to instill in my young daughter who's 3, I want her to do the things I did in my 30s and her 20s, because I know better now. Like I want her to experiment and live life, in her early 20s. But then like I think like when you hit like a certain age, out after post college, I think you should kind of get serious about life. I think that's like, to me, that's how I kind of want to raise her. I played too much in my 30s. Like I played way too much, and again, like, this is kind of where I want my daughter and people listening to say, you got to sacrifice early so you don't have to work as hard later. At what year in your life did you get that when you started feeling like I'm running, not walking anymore? Yeah, man, that's a good one. Nobody's ever asked me that question before. So I got to think about it a little bit. So like I kept my 9-to-5 job, and I tell people your 9-to-5 job, if you're going to become an entrepreneur of any sorts, is like your best business partner. So keep that for as long as possible until you can sustain it. So I kept that until like 2 years ago. This is the thing too. If you've been working forever and you got a 401k, pull some of that out, take that hit, and then maybe go buy you an investment property that can cash flow Airbnb or a LTR, a long-term rental, or go buy you a truck that you can lease to a company that can just pay you bi-weekly, and that way create multiple streams of income. What about the musician that's watching this right now who's never had a real job? Yeah. Has $10,000 in their pocket. Mm-hmm. What would you suggest for them to do? to make long-term smart decisions?
Buy real estate if you're in Nashville, or really primarily
That's
any
not
market,
easy,
man. Oh, but see, that's the thing. That's where you can sit with me and I can show you how it's easy. Because like you said before, everybody has down payment money. Where are you spending it? You may spend it on vacations. You may spend it on the club. You may spend it on your girlfriend or boyfriend. Everybody has down payment money. And if not, all you got to do is get a good credit score. And then your state will pay your down payment money for you. So it's ways to get real estate. And that is another reason I'm so passionate. If you have no money, get your credit. Get your credit up. If somebody has 10K to their name with an adequate credit score, we can get you in a house.
Well, all right, look, outside of getting into a house, we got questions that you got to answer. I got 3 questions here, and we still got to speed it up to see your day in life. So we'll be right back with Will in a second.
I see.
Your secret sauce for real estate is?
What do you think your secret sauce for real estate is?
One, I just say resilience and not giving up, and then consistency.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go down to the last question here.
Hey, Will, what are your major takeaways from 2020?
Oh, wow. Man, I could talk about that all day.
Let's roll it.
Real quick. Major takeaways from 2020 was that don't buy real estate if you're emotional. Don't make investments in emotional investments. Post-COVID, rates were low. Twos, people paying $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 over. We were just out of control. It was a lot of emotional purchasing and transactions, which you want to make sound transactions. But people it was a lot of emotional investing during that time because people were overpaying for homes. It kind of messed the market up a little bit. So it was just don't buy homes when you're emotionally invested.
Where do you see the market going in the end of the year, top of the new year?
Rates should drop pre 24 for the next election. So I think rates, and then in Nashville, we still don't have a lot of inventory. So with inventory being low, rates low, that's going to be a lot of another cycle of emotional investing. So I see that being a tumultuous time coming up, man.
What can people doing that are interested in buying their first home?
Yeah.
What can they do successfully? If you had just a couple systems, let's just say 3 steps, 5 steps.
Yeah.
What can they do if they're interested in purchasing their first home?
So 1, get your credit score up. 2, know how to find your good credit score, your accurate credit score. There, you just contact me or one of my agents will lead you in the right direction. 2 is think ahead and forecast. So if you're living in Nashville is extremely priced right now. It's just really high. Forecast where people could go next: Lebanon, Chapel Hill, Columbia, Clarksville, Murfreesboro, Christiana, things outside the city. Land is so expensive here. So try to be realistic in your goal setting. And then the last step is goal set. Goal set, if you don't have the money, figure out, do I need to get another job? Do I need to ask my boss for a raise? Do I need to maybe pick up a 3rd job? What do I need to do? Because now it is very hard for the median price being almost $500,000 in Nashville. So it is hard, extremely hard. And the way to combat that is to get your credit up, because banks are going to lend to people who have good credit right now. As opposed to, I'd say it's 3 variables, man. You got to have some capital, or you got to have credit. Or you got to have connections.
And what about your personal goals, just personally?
Oh man, personal. So, that's a really good. I want to start a development company, which I'm going to, right? It's in the works right now. So I want to build a subdivision. I actually had a call with Pathway Lending last week to learn more about affordable lending, and affordable housing. So I want to build a segment of affordable housing too, and spread financial literacy. So lastly, another one of my personal goals is I want to implement financial literacy in Metro Davidson curriculum. So,
wow.
We go speak at schools.
That's
and
amazing.
talk about credit. Yeah.
I love that.
Which would be really dope, man, because I think people, we learned the Pythagoras theorem. What is that?
I know what you're talking about, but
but yeah, we don't even know how to get our credit scores up or file taxes or buy a house. So it's just so much about that I want to teach there. Because when I go speak to these seniors, it's very predatory lending on them when they jump out. So I try to pre-warn them about stuff. So that's another thing. But and also I want to buy 2 more homes before the year is up.
That's amazing.
Yeah, for the portfolio.
So, obviously we can have this conversation for a long time, and I'm sure that within this hour that you guys are taking back a lot of conversation, not only from the way that your mind works, but also from your business, from starting from where you came from. And it's amazing, the conversation, the story, and I love it. So the way that we end the show every day First of all, give them all the contact information before we go into your day in the life.
Yeah, so WilliamWilsonHomes.com. My personal Instagram is William Basquiat. My favorite painter is Basquiat. And then company Instagram is William Wilson Homes.
All right, and the best time to reach you?
Anytime. On my website, I got.
Don't say that. This is going to the internet, dude. This is staying forever.
I got 24/7 on the website. I try to be I won't reply if you hit me at 3 a.m. of course. But send me an email anytime.
Don't hit him up at 11 o'clock at night. Let the man sleep.
Yeah.
All right, now look straight into that. So this is how we set up the entire show, okay? To see your day in the life, which I'm excited to. I'm not HGTV, but I got a good camera.
Yeah.
Now the way that we do is we do your day in the life, where you get to show everyone what you want to show. Now the way that we tee it off though is you look straight into that camera right there. You say your name and you say, "This is how I walk the line." Walk the line being your day in the life.
Right.
And then from there, we're gonna transition to your day in the life.
That's good.
All right, let's get it. All right, and 3.
This is William Wilson with William Wilson Homes, and this is how I walk the line.
Hey, Will.
How are you? This is William Wilson at William Wilson Homes. I'm here with the great Donna Kelly. We're at Lee Brick Church. We are doing a turkey drive today. So right now we have 120 turkeys. We got some food bags, 100 food bags, and we're here just supporting the community. Pat Walker Reese right here. It's my guy. He arranged all of this, and we're here just being a blessing to others and hoping to bless the community.
10 years in, it's the 10th one. Always shouts to Dolowite, Starlito, Chef Bats, some of the guys that were around Summer Huskies when this thing first started. Over the years, we've tried to grow the partnership. So this is the first year we've ever done it with a school. The last 3 years we've done it with the homeless shelter. But what we realize is there's a lot of hard-working people out there every day that, just need help. Right? Don't worry about it. Forget Kroger's, forget the store. Come here and get a turkey. The school had over 90 families sign up. We got over 120 turkeys, so we just want to make sure that we add value this year again. So thank y'all in the Nashville community for the support. Let's go. Thanks William Wilson and all the realtors, man. We couldn't do it without y'all.